Welcome to the Zach on Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Hughes. Today's episode is entitled, We're Going Big on Cloud Technology. Here's the strategy. We're going big on the cloud. All in. It's exciting. It's futuristic. However, it's downright difficult. I talk with leaders at other large enterprise organizations, and everyone is grappling with the cloud. Some are grappling better than others. Our why is simple. We can be more efficient, secure, resilient, agile, and sustainable in the cloud. Our cloud technology platform is an enabler to just about every other strategic initiative at the company. The how is not simple. It's taken a lot of strategic thought. I'd like to start this podcast episode by describing the patterns I've seen, and then I'll wrap it up with the approach that we are taking. The SaaS-only approach. There aren't many companies left that can claim they don't have any cloud presence. All companies, at a minimum, have plenty of software as a service, or SaaS, products in their environment. While SaaS offerings continue to grow, most companies will be hard-pressed to empty their data centers with this strategy. There are just too many traditional applications left in the enterprise. To embrace a SaaS-only approach also means a long-term commitment to data centers for everything else. The digital-only approach. Most companies have some sort of digital initiative that involves creating a new customer-facing digital capability. It's not uncommon for that workload to run in the cloud. Many in this camp operate in a bimodal model. The digital team has a new cloud platform and operating model, and the rest of the enterprise operates the old-fashioned way. While this is a common way to start, it only gets you so far. Some may call it digital transformation, but it's just digital ancillary if it doesn't transform the core. Sooner or later, the two modes need to be reconciled. Both SaaS-only and digital-only approaches are often called hybrid cloud. In my experience, this is way too generous of a term. This gives you credit for embracing a little bit of cloud while simultaneously running 90% of the company the way it has always been run. The outsource approach. Some leaders really like outsourcing IT. Those same leaders look at cloud as a way to shift responsibility to vendors and reduce staffing. This approach will yield a small fraction of the cloud benefits and all of the historical downsides of IT outsourcing we've seen as an industry for the past 20 years. At best, outsourcing is cheap and stable. I've never found it to be agile and innovative. Cloud is many things, but one thing it is not is less work. It takes an awful lot of skilled and talented people to execute a cloud strategy. The work changes, but it doesn't go away. The all-in approach. I have first-hand experience with everything I've talked about so far. In many ways, these experiences have prepared me for the full-blown strategy that we're executing now. We're all in on cloud. Our data centers' days are numbered. That last sentence is an important one. If you don't design your cloud capability to replace your data centers, then it won't. A generation ago, Stephen Covey said, "Begin with the end in mind." That's still good advice. If you don't, then you'll just have to do it over again. I've talked with many technology leaders who are on their third or fourth attempt. Additionally, let me offer a few other key tenets of our strategy. Number 1, start with a critical workload. Pick a big, important workload and start there. Many pick an inconsequential workload, but I think that's a mistake. When you pick something important, it forces you to do it right and to do it well. You must design the resiliency right. It must perform. The cost must be calculated because it is material. The organizational capability needs to be built. The security must be solid. Number 2, make the cloud more efficient. It can be more efficient, but it's not a given. We can make it cheaper, but we must do the hard engineering work to achieve that outcome. So far, we've been able to achieve that every time. Number 3, make the cloud more secure. It can be more secure, but we must be disciplined. Many ask me if the cloud is more or less secure than a data center. Inherently, it's neither. It's up to us to make it more secure. I believe the cloud offers more advanced security capabilities than its traditional counterparts, but it's up to us to leverage them. Security doesn't come by default along with a cloud bill. My team has a sign hanging on the wall. Dance like nobody's watching, encrypt like everyone is. That's a quote from Werner Vogels. Number 4, make the cloud more available. Inherently, it probably already is, but we need to design our systems assuming it's not. Any service credit we get will never soften the blow from a sustained outage. Design accordingly. Number 5, reinvested efficiencies fuel the migration. Run rate to run rate, the cloud is cheaper for us, but it costs something to do the migration work. Number 6, train the workforce. We've hired for some key roles, but mostly we've developed the cloud skills we need in our existing workforce. Additionally, we've invested in organizational change management. The shift to cloud moves people's cheese big time, and we need to be prepared. Number 7, partner well. We own this effort, but we aren't doing it alone. We've built deep partnerships with our hyperscalers, independent consultants, and the cloud-native ISV community. Number 8, the cloud is a product. With modern technology comes modern methods of organizing. We run our cloud platform as a product team, complete with agile and product management practices, delivering iteratively with customer focus. Upstream teams run that way. The platform team needs to be just as agile and progressive. Number 9, modernize all the things. It's possible to run the cloud just like a data center, but we try our hardest to take the opportunity to modernize. We embrace infrastructure as code and DevOps principles as much as possible. Number 10, time is running out. Modernization and migration durations are at odds with each other. On one hand, ideally, we want to fully modernize every workload that moves to the cloud. On the other hand, our data center equipment keeps aging, and we don't want to spend more than we must to extend it. We must live with this tension and do our best to find a balance. Number 11, embrace the full stack. Earlier, I mentioned SaaS and how that's only a partial solution. We also embrace platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and function as a service. Ultimately, we look at the cloud as a new application runtime environment. Number 12, go multi-cloud with intention. By now, every enterprise is multi-cloud, most by chance, not by design. We have a specific multi-cloud strategy with a decision framework for landing workloads with the optimal hyperscaler. Ultimately, being multi-cloud is necessary, yet it undoubtedly stretches our limited talent capacity thin. Therefore, we must be rational and disciplined with hyperscaler sprawl. I've written about cloud several times on my blog, but this is the first time I've explained our comprehensive strategy. There's nothing in this strategy that's brand new. We've been operating this way for a while and are well on our way toward achieving our goals. I thought about recording a podcast episode like this before, but I wanted to make sure our strategy was tested with plenty of experience first. We continue to learn. We aren't the organization we were a year ago. A year from now, we'll be even smarter. For everyone on the cloud journey, I hope I've provided something beneficial for you in this podcast episode. Please let me know how it's going in your organization. I'd love to hear from you. That's all for this week's episode of the Zach on Leadership podcast. Thanks for listening.